Good morning. So, the topic of today's presentation is Michelson interferometer. We have already done this topic, covered this topic in the class, but for a quick revision, we are doing it online. So, Michelson interferometer was devised by AKA Michelson, and he conjectured that if the speed of light related to a hypothetical ether was indeed constant, then the Earth's orbital velocity relative to this ether should exhibit observable relativistic effects. That means he was of the view that ether should act as a frame of reference while considering the relativistic effects. So he devised and constructed an optical interferometer to test whether the ether is there at the frame of reference or not. Since Earth's orbital velocity is approximately 107,000 kilometers per hour, Michelson anticipated that his interferometer would exhibit measurable change over the course of a year due to the substantial difference in velocity relative to the static background of the ether. He used a source and then he made the light coming from the source to fall on a beam splitter which divides the light into two equal components which are made to incident on two fixed on two mirrors, out of which one mirror was a movable mirror and the other was a fixed mirror. The light after reflection from these mirrors was made to superimpose, and since the origin of the light is from the single source, we expect the the reflected lights will be coherent in nature and the superposition will be giving me an interference pattern. Theoretically, we can understand this as there are two mirrors, M2, which is a movable mirror, and M1, which is a fixed mirror. And there is a beam splitter C. When the light from the source falls on the beam splitter, it is partially reflected and partially transmitted. The glass compensating plate on the part towards the fixed mirror is made to compensate for the difference in the paths of the light which are traveling to mirrors M1 and M2 respectively. Theoretically, when the observer is observing the interference pattern, the mirror M1 is in a direct field of view, but there is a virtual image of the mirror M2. So we can say that we have two virtual sources S1 dash and S2 dash of the original source F. When these two mirrors, the virtual M2 dash and the original M1 mirror, are parallel, then the fringes observed are circular and concentric. But when these mirrors cross each other or are inclined, then the fringes observed are of equal thickness and are straight fringes. Now, if the source is an extended one, that means the light is coming from a distant source, then to observe in the first case, when the mirror M1 is parallel to the virtual mirror M2 dash, we need to use a telescope to observe the fringes. And in the second case, when the mirrors are intersecting, then the fringes will be localized on the mirrors themselves. When we use a white light, it has a tiny coherence length, and so the we will get the fringes, but they will not be clear, they will be blurred, and of course, colored fringes will be observed. The two optical paths must be practically equal for all wavelengths present in the source. And this requirement can be met if both the light passes through equal thickness of the glass of the same dispersion. That means the glass of the compensating plate and the mirror should be same. In figure A above, the horizontal beam crosses the beam splitter 3 times, while the vertical beam crosses the beam splitter once. To equalize the dispersion, the compensating plate identical to the substrate of the beam splitter may be inserted into the vertical path. In figure B, you can see that we are having a Q beam splitter which already equalizes the path lengths in the glass. The requirement for the dispersion equalization is eliminated by using extremely narrow band with light from a laser. The theory of the this interference is very simple. If the distances from the beam splitter to the mirrors M1 and M2 differ by a distance d, then the total path difference between the two beams of light is 2d. And then when this path difference of 2d is equal to an integral multiple of light wavelength, a constructive interference is observed at the viewing screen. Mathematically, this condition may be written as 2d is equal to m lambda. In practice, due to the difference between the external and the internal reflections at the silvered surfaces, a phase reversal of one beam may result in which a distance 2d is an half integral multiple of the light wavelength. So now 2d is equal to m plus half lambda. Now we can say that the condition for the minima is 2d is equal to m lambda and maxima is 2d cos theta is equal to 2m plus 1 lambda by 2. When the fringe is dark, that means for minima, we are talking of the central fringe, that means theta is equal to 0, so cos theta will be 1. So this will be 2d is equal to m lambda. So m is equal to 2d upon lambda. Now if we want to know that what will be the distance if we cross one fringe from the field of view. So we can calculate the distance for m is equal to 1 and m is equal to 2 and then subtract the distance d2 from d1, which will give us the distance required to be moved to traverse one fringe, which comes out to be lambda by 2. So if we move the movable mirror by a distance of lambda by 2, one fringe will cross the field of view. The key applications of Michelson interferometer are: it is used to verify the theory of relativity, that means to test whether ether is there as a frame of reference. In astronomical interferometry, in optical coherence tomography, in upper atmosphere to find the weather conditions, as a component in the helioscine and the magnetic imager to detect gravitational waves, as a tunable narrow band filter, and for Fourier transform spectroscopy. Fourier transform spectroscopy is nothing but there is a basic principle that we have a mathematical representation of a source. Suppose from convex lens we get a image. That image will be said to be a Fourier transform of the source. So what a convex lens does? It Fourier transforms the object into the image. So in the present case, if we have the Fourier transform recorded at the detector, then the Fourier transforms will be a mathematical data that can give me all the information of the interferogram, all the fringe width and other data can be recorded. The second use was Twyman green interferometer. where we use a collimating lens to render the beam into a parallel one. And instead of this fixed mirror, we use a spherical mirror. We are not using a plane mirror, but a spherical mirror. So to make the light fall on the spherical mirror, we use a convex lens. This convex lens also plays the role of the compensating plate. Si- Similarly, to observe it, we need to converge the light on the observer. One convex lens is used towards the observer. This interferometer, as I told you, is also used for stellar measurements and gravitational wave detection through LIGO. And these are other applications which you can study and we will discuss in the next class. So thank you for listening, and you can email me or leave the questions on my